Your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark, wants to give a big shout out to all the truckers that listen to our show. Night Dreams Talk Radio Network brings you The World Paranormal News with James Creechbaum. Now, the latest news.
I'm James Creechbaum with the Paranormal and World Changes News. Well, UFO hunter claims responsibility for the mysterious Colorado drones. The mysterious giant drones that have been flying in formation over parts of Colorado, Nebraska, and Wyoming just got a possible explanation. And it may create more mysteries than it solves, if it solves any at all. A member of the group, Amateur UFO Trackers, claims they've been flying drones in formation over Colorado in an organized search for the unidentified aerial phenomenon that has become known as the Tic Tac UFO. So despite the government's plea to move along, nothing to see here, the Colorado, Nebraska, and now Wyoming drone mystery isn't going away anytime soon. Strange black smoke ring filmed over Pakistan. This giant ring, which was spotted drifting up into the sky, has been the topic of some heated debate this week. Now, back in 2014, for instance, a very similar phenomenon, which was captured on camera over the UK city of Leamington Spa, was later found to have been caused by a fireworks test. Similarly, another ring spotted in Chicago in 2012 was caused by a transfer blowing up. Well, Bigfoot shows up on a Sherman Pass webcam. A mysterious figure was recently captured on a camera by Washington State's Department of Transportation. In a tweet posted up on Wednesday, officials highlighted a webcam image taken of a peculiarly picturesque stretch of road in Sherman Pass, which crosses the Kettle River Range in Washington. The shot seems to show someone or something walking through the snow on the left-hand side of the video. Sasquatch spotted, the department wrote. Well, snakes are a likely source of China's deadly coronavirus. That's another theory. Chinese kraut and the Chinese cobra, or Chinese crate rather, may be the original source of the newly discovered coronavirus that has triggered an outbreak of a deadly infectious respiratory illness in China this winter. Nostradamus predicted killer virus as coronavirus continues to spread. In one of his passages, he wrote, "The great plague of the maritime city will not cease until there be avenged the death of the just blood, condemned for a price without crime of the great lady outraged by pretense." It seems as though he was predicting the SARS-like outbreak that's happening right now in the world. Mysterious burst of gravitational waves from unknown source hits Earth. On January 14, astronomers at the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory and the Virgo Interferometer detected a burst of gravitational waves lasting 14 milliseconds. Well, scientists have attempted to locate the source of the waves, but so far they have no idea what has caused them. Next news break, top of the hour.
You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark, with our host, Gary Anderson.
And that is me. Tonight, we have a great guest on the show. We have Barbara Delong talking about aliens, UFOs, a little bit about her. She's an international known radio and podcaster. She is a, ordained minister, a lecturer, an artist, author. And, I think we better get her on the line right now. So let's get her on. And, if everything works right. And then we'll get in a good conversation tonight about UFOs and things like that. Are they real? So let's find out. Well, hi, Barbara. How you doing, kid?
Doing well.
Well, you're on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and I hope... Well, what's the weather like, Barbara, in your area?
Well, I've got snow on the ground, and it's cold out.
Oh, yeah. You know, James, my co-host, actually he's my news director. He went like about 4 or 5 days without any heat. And what was your temperature, James, outside?
In those 5 days, it was averaging 10 to 15 degrees, and that was with the wind chill, and the highs were like around 20, so it was cold. Not was outside. In the house, man. Yeah, it was cold. In the house, maybe 60 or 50, 55.
I have definitely been in that kind of condition, and I don't really look forward to much more of it this winter. So as soon as it's over, I'll be very happy.
Oh, yeah. Well, what state are you in?
I'm in Connecticut.
Oh, wow. So you're not going to have to really worry about here in another 20, 30 years of having beachfront property, are you?
Well, actually, it depends on where the comet hits. Actually, my house is for sale, and I'm moving to Nashville as soon as it sells. So I still might have beachfront. You never know.
Yeah, well, between, asteroids, comets, and the sea rises, I tell you, it's really scary. Like I was saying on the show earlier today, the big bottling companies are coming into my state, Washington, and they're buying up as much water rights as they can physically buy. And that makes you wonder, why are they doing that?
Yeah, that's a little scary. I'm still watching for the new Madrid fault line to erupt again, because if it does, I will have waterfront property, but it'll be the Mississippi.
Yeah. It's scary what's going on. We got these volcanoes is going off. We're getting earthquakes now quite a bit and quite often. There's a lot of earth changes going on, well, speeding up. My friend who's no longer with us, Art Bell in Whitley, wrote a book, the Superstorm. And I was talking to Whitley here a few weeks ago. I just think him and Art were off by about 20 years.
Well, there have always been earth changes that have been going on. It's just that the cycle is so big, it takes generations for it to totally cycle. So I think that what we see going on is a natural procedure, but, we don't have records that go back far enough to say, oh, yeah, that happened before.
Yeah, but I think also with our pollution that's going on and everything else we have dumped in the atmosphere and everything else we've done, I think we might have speeded it up just a tad. And that's what's scary.
I totally agree with you on that one.
I'm at the age, I'm 68. In January, I hit 68, and I really freaked out, Barbara. But you know what? I got a lot of grandkids because I had 8 children, or my wife had 8 children, or have 8 children. And we got a lot of grandkids, and I'm really scared, and I really feel sorry for them when they get in their 30s, what type of world they're going to be living in. It could be really scary. Today, somebody in Washington, D.C. our Clean Water Act, he threw it out the window. It's over with. Doesn't feel we need to spend the money, keeping track and enforcing it.
Don't you think our grandparents, though, would be horrified at the world that we've got today? I think it's that way for every generation. I know I top you. I'm at 75, and I have 2 grandchildren, and I do wonder about what kind of world they're going to have, because their childhood has been so different than mine was. So it's anybody's guess. It's a crapshoot, and I guess every generation has to climb their own mountains, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I look at what the EPA has accomplished in the last 20, 30 years. They have cleaned up a lot of rivers. They cleaned up a lot of lakes. They have cleaned up even where I live at. There was a company that produced, I can't remember what they originally produced. It was in business from 1880s all the way up to about 1960s, but it produced a lot of byproduct, which was arsenic. And the EPA stepped in and made them close the plant down. They spent millions upon millions of dollars to remove all the soil, not just where the plant was. I lived about 3 miles from it, and they even came out, the EPA, on our property down the street and made, they had dug out all our soil and replaced it because it was contaminated with high levels of arsenic. All these laws, I think, were beneficial Because could you imagine kids playing in dirt with high, amounts of arsenic and other contaminants? Scary.
No, it does boggle the mind, and certainly they've made great efforts, but with all the harm we've done, I'm not real sure, if we can correct it all in time.
No.
I mean, I'm not saying we're going to, blow up or the population is going to simmer away to nothing, but I think there are going to be challenges to every generation from now on that prior generations didn't have.
Oh, yeah. Well, especially now since they pretty much scrapped the EPA. So that means now pretty much the companies can come back in and dirty the water. They don't have to worry about, a lot of different laws that were being enforced for pollution. So, I mean, why? It just bothers me. And I think about it. Here we are coming to major earth changes. And then all of a sudden it's like, we don't care now. Go ahead and do what you want to do.
Well, I think they're probably, they were so overwhelmed, though. I mean, while they were able to do things like replacing the dirt and cleaning up, look at the oceans. I mean, they're so loaded with plastic and things like that they're killing off the wildlife, and it's pathetic.
No,
there's so much damage that we've done. In order to repair it, it's going to take generations.
And we don't have that time. I was just reading a report that in the next couple of years, the ocean, the temperature has gone up several degrees in the last 80, 90 years. That going up just a couple degrees is enough to kill a lot of sea life. Not just that, the oxygen content, and it affects everything. So, we're going to have big, vast areas of dead oceans.
Well, and not only that, but if the ocean warms too much, then the ice at the poles is going to start melting, and so there's going to be massive flooding. And there is such a delicate balance here on the Earth plane, and we've gone so far out of sync that to restore that balance is going to be a massive project.
Yeah, I'll say this, and then we can get into my topic. It's been really popular, UFOs, aliens, and abductions. But I will say this, the water, it comes off, that little belt, it comes off the equator and goes up the Atlantic Ocean, and it goes all the way up to the UK and all that area. And that keeps the water at a certain level of temperature. That has been slowing down, and the temperature that has actually dropped. They are so scared in the next year or two or 10 years, because we can't really predict, that could stall. Now, if that happens, back in the early 1900s, the UK, Russia went into a mini ice age. That's where a lot of people in Russia, froze to death in their own houses because they couldn't stay warm. It got that cold. And I hate, that's this thing. I think, yes, the Earth is in a cycle. It's time compared to other cycles where it's probably starting, but I just think we sped it up a little bit. And, maybe if we wouldn't have sped it up, our technology could have, I have no idea. It's a topic, what little hair I have makes me want to pull it out.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just, I sit and I look at this and I think, okay, and if one believes in reincarnation, and I do, I think I probably have lived calmer, peacer, quieter lives than I have this lifetime, that's for sure.
Well, I can say it's scary. Now, before we get into UFOs, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a retired school teacher. I taught special education for 25 years, but I've been in the metaphysical field for the last 55 years, actually, now. And I've done a lot of stuff in the field. I've gone from doing psychic stuff to creating my own deck of cards, the Cosmic Deck of Initiation, and that's out there, and that's quite an unusual project. My late husband and I got very involved in the stone walls and stone chambers that are here in New England, and so I wrote and narrated, and he did all the graphic work on a documentary that's been out there for, oh my gosh, over 20 years now. called Secrets of the Stones.